We put him in a podcast and we threw away the podcast. It's Boy Party Joker Month. Myself and Shane will be discussing David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad starring Will Smith, Jared Leto and Margot Robbie. This is Boy Party. What is this, some kind of suicide pod? Hello everybody, welcome back to Boy Party Joker Month. This month we are discussing movies where the Joker, the clown, Prince of Crime, is a co-lead. We've done Batman 1989, we've done The Dark Knight, and this week we're discussing David Ayer's 2016 Suicide Squad. My name is Lucian and I'm joined as always by I don't know, just too many characters in this movie I could do a gag with here with you. I'm going to pick one at random.
Go on.
By the handsome civil servant who sits across the table from me when I'm describing the dastardly, the worst of the worst I've been dealing with all day. Yes, it's David Harbour's character in this movie. Shane, welcome.
Good afternoon.
And you're thrilled to be here to discuss Suicide Squad, I'm sure.
Oh, buddy. This was a treat to watch for a second time in 8 years.
8 years? 8 years. Is this the first film that we've discussed on this podcast that you and I saw in cinemas, bar new releases, you know, that we saw together many years ago,
like pre-podcasting days
on its original release? That's not a particularly interesting subcategory, I suppose, but I am just thinking,
I mean, like half the films we do are before we're born, so that kind of knocks them out.
I'm looking here and like, no, Star is Born I didn't see with you, Burt Wonderstone I didn't see with you, Passengers, Dark Tower, no. Beginning End, no. I think so. This is the first one.
Yeah,
this is the first one where you and I have a history with this film dating back many years. Mm-hmm. This film was released in August 2016. It was kind of the movie of the summer. I think that was a low bar that summer to clear. We'll obviously do the box office game later and you'll hear what level blockbusters were at in summer 2016, where Suicide Squad, it was not hard for this to be like the event of the summer, just based on tapping into a couple of things culturally.
I know, but I still think if this was a thing that was coming out in 2024, it would still be the film of the summer. I think it had very distinct branding.
Maybe.
I think its colors were pretty sharp.
Yes.
I don't think we had I don't know how far we were into like the DC films at this stage, but they hadn't they hadn't a major reputation for being complete trash at this point.
No, they didn't. I think you're right, but I think that a lot of what you've just described wouldn't be the case in 2024. You know, like they did another Suicide Squad movie since this, and it did not feel like the movie of that summer. Sure,
but I feel like that was as a result of this one being
maybe, and also
possibly
COVID.
One of the worst films of all time.
Yes, it is, which it is, I think. Well, anyway, it was, you're right, an incredibly well branded film. I think, like, genuinely, with everything bad I have to say about this film, I have nothing bad to say about the people who designed the posters, the people who were in charge of basically just making this movie feel like an aesthetic that summer. Of kind of...
And even committing to calling it Suicide Squad.
As I had said to you yesterday, I was convinced up until this movie started to be marketed that it was going to have its name changed, because I thought Suicide Squad's very morbid. They're not going to think that putting the word suicide in the name is commercial over, internationally. Thought they would probably change it to Task Force X, which is the name of the squad in the movie. But they didn't, and then they basically went ahead and charged forward with this incredibly distinct brat green. We're now referring to
brat
it as
green.
Brat
slime
green
at the time.
Slime green marketing campaign. These kind of
a lot of skull and crossbones
imagery. That kind of, I think this was like peak emoji bullshit. Like this was the year before the Emoji Movie, so they made emojis of the characters a big part of the marketing. They had a soundtrack of just absolutely wretched mid-2010s emo pop and hip-hop with artists like
21 Pilots
and...
Were Paramore on this, Buzz?
God, no. They wouldn't go near this. This is we'll start with the soundtrack. Okay. Here's the soundtrack track listing. We got Purple Lamborghini, Skrillex, and Rick Ross. That's just kind of slimy, sleazy Joker music. I don't really have a strong relationship with that. Then we have one of the big hits, which is Sucker for Pain, Lil Wayne, Wiz Khalifa, Imagine Dragons, Logic, Ty Dolla $ign, and X Ambassadors. Big track. That's a lot of artists working together. Like, Lil Wayne has the vibe of the Joker in this movie, I would say. He's the closest real world analog we have.
To be honest, I think if Jared Leto just tried to make his Joker like Lil Wayne, it would be better.
Yeah. Might have been more racist, but yes. Wiz Khalifa obviously had the biggest movie tie-in song since Titanic 2 years earlier. 1 year earlier, actually, with See You Again. Imagine Dragons, top of the world in 2016. Literally, they were on top of the world. They were on top of the world. That is an Imagine Dragons song,
What does
right?
Lil Wayne talk to Imagine Dragon about when they're hanging out?
Not a chance have they ever been in the same room.
No.
They just layer these tracks on top of each other.
Yeah.
And then I don't know anything about those other artists, but, that's a big tune. Okay. Heathens, 21 Pilots. Standing in the Rain, Action Bronson, Mark Ronson, and Dan Auerbach from the Black Keys.
Yeah.
Then we got Gangsta by Kalani. Don't know who that is. Then we got No Better by Kevin Gates. You Don't Own Me cover. Grace featuring G-Eazy. And then Without Me by Eminem, obviously not an original song. Wreak Havoc by Skylar Grey. Medieval Warfare by Grimes. Panic at the Disco cover of Bohemian Rhapsody. Slipping Into Darkness by War. Fortunate Son. I Started a Joke, which is a Bee Gees song covered by Confidential MX featuring Becky Hansen. And that's it. That's the soundtrack. But just it's very 2016. And then what else is part of this marketing campaign that really worked? I don't know.
It had stars.
It had stars, and it also, I don't know. I think the hypersexualization of Margot Robbie was a major part of it as well. Yeah, which I think is really unfortunate.
Again, anytime you're bringing out a new Joker, you have the whole build up to revealing what he looks like. Yes. I think they did that.
They did that. They did that well. The Joker seemed way more interesting in the marketing than he does in the movie. Basically it was a big deal. It comes out August 5th, 2016. This is the release date that 2 years prior Guardians of the Galaxy had been released and been a massive hit. So I think the consensus in Hollywood was, okay, we'll put out our kind of...
this tracked reasonably well.
We'll put out our twisted superhero movie. And we went to see it. But the time we went to see it, the reviews had already come out and it was already being completely lambasted. And I think we knew it was going to be shit. I remember there being a very distinct effort to go to see it at a time where we wouldn't have to pay very much for the tickets. I think we went at like 11:30 a.m. on a Sunday, opening weekend, so that the tickets were like €5 or €6. And that some of us in our group did not want to spend more than that to see this film that looked dreadful.
I think for us personally, it's good that this was bad and we didn't resonate with it because this was the year we started college.
Yes.
And if we went into college as big Joker heads, things might not have gone very well.
True. I didn't start college for another year after this, but sure. So we went to see it on some morning of it. It was like a Sunday morning in August. And then we went to the beach and we saw Michael D. Higgins walking past.
Oh, yeah.
And then when I went to see, 5 years later in 2021, when The Suicide Squad came out, I was in that exact same spot in Salt Hill in Galway that weekend that the sequel comes out. And I also saw Michael D. Higgins that weekend. Yeah. And I was like, this is nuts. So anyway, that's my uninteresting story about Suicide Squads.
Has Michael D. Higgins seen The Suicide Squad?
I hope not. I don't think so. I don't see why he would.
There's no reason for him.
This doesn't seem like a film that RTE would throw on. I'll say about this film, which is incredibly pedestrian and watered down in many ways, it's kind of too fucked up and scary to just put on TV at night and expect people to dive into.
A little bit.
It's fucking gross in ways that are pathetic and not they don't stick with you, but it is kind of gross and nasty and sadistic in ways that I find very unpleasant, but also in ways where I'm like, as a TV programmer, you wouldn't be like, yes, the average adult viewer will turn this on a Friday night and get interested. The average person who doesn't seek out this film would put it on for 5 minutes and be like, what is this gross movie, and turn it off. Yeah. There is just so much.
And I think the scheduler in RTE puts a little bit more effort in than just saying, Will Smith, Margot Robbie, we played Focus last week. Let's put this on.
You'd be better off playing Focus 100 times than playing Suicide Squad once to keep the casual TV viewer happy, because this movie requires such a level of buy-in from the viewer of okay, I want to watch a movie called Suicide Squad. It's got skull emojis on the poster. It features the Joker played by Jared Leto. You need to go about 6 levels of buy-in to what this film is selling to not be supremely ickied by the just kind of incredible amount of needles, electrocution, vague abuse of women that's kind of hinted at, abuse of men that's kind of hinted at, this kind of entire premise of the film being that these people have explosives in their necks that can be activated at any moment. The whole thing just has a very I don't know, a kind of cruelty to it that I find deeply unpleasant.
Yeah, and like, we're not against graphic violence in films. Like, there's obviously films that do it well.
Do it very well.
Serves a purpose.
Last week, I think we talked about The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight's obviously not super R-rated, violent, whatever, but I think that's a film that communicates violence in a very effective way, where the Joker in it is violently scary without being just this kind of like weird kind of torture-y guy like this movie depicts.
Yeah, and like the violence in The Dark Knight kind of serves a purpose in terms of telling you something about characters, I guess.
Yeah. And tapping into as we've discussed, this kind of war on terror, fear mentality.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know what this movie taps into other than, I guess, a very specific kind of 2010s online emo culture that's based on like, oh yeah, all I do is
everything is bad.
Nihilism. Nihilism. Suffering is, my whole, my identity is based on
I hate everything.
It's emo, but it's like bad emo culture. It's like 21 Pilots. The evolution, like My Chemical Romance, Paramore emo culture has evolved into something so much stupider because of social media. And that's Suicide Squad is like that dressed up for a mainstream audience as a superhero movie. And it's like, I guess it's coming from a director who is a sole credited screenwriter, David Ayer, a director I find completely uninteresting to talk about. Yeah. Not an interesting guy, but he is a military veteran as far as I know. Oh. He wrote, yes, he is, Navy veteran. He wrote Training Day, which is an Oscar-winning film. And then he wrote The Fast and the Furious. He wrote SWAT. Very successful action screenwriter in the early 2000s. And then he takes his pivot to directing. He makes End of Watch, which is a very violent, bad cop movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Michael Pena. Then he did Sabotage with Arnold Schwarzenegger, which is a great title, but is a very aggressive, nasty movie set on the southern border. And then he does this. He does Fury with Brad Pitt, and then he does this. He's a very cerebral, violent filmmaker who's coming from a military background and obviously has a somewhat emo relationship with depicting violence on screen, where he's like, you wouldn't believe the things I've seen. My Joker is fucked up. It's like, this is not coherent filmmaking,
and it's man. His reaction to seeing these things is to put it on film in a way that is, I'm going to show you this, but not analyze the reasons why this comes about or what this means. Yeah. Like, he could have seen torture in certain camps in certain parts of the world, and he's like, I saw that's sick, I'm gonna show that on screen, but make no commentary at all on kind of
this film has no ideas. It has no commentary, no opinions, no ideas. It has the social rhetoric of a video game like Grand Theft Auto or whatever, I would say, except without any of the fun of interacting with cars and cityscapes.
Yeah, and I think with the two Joker films we've seen before this, is that like kind of the narrative and the commentary are driven by the Joker's point of view. Yes. Where the Joker isn't really the villain in this. No. He's just a side character.
Yes.
The villain is fucking...
The villain is
weird ghost witch
Enchantress.
Enchantress and her brother.
There's almost no...
Which are completely faceless, completely lifeless.
It's impossible to describe what the Joker's role is in this film, because he is neither... He's not a protagonist or a villain. He is not a comic relief. He is sort of... I would say he's like a scary relief. He's like, what if... It's like Olaf the Snowman in Frozen if his entire purpose was just to show up and be freaky for 5 minutes because the movie's not freaky enough otherwise.
But not in a fun Beetlejuice kind of way.
No, exactly. He's like what the worst Beetlejuice you could possibly imagine. Like
the Joker torture kind of sadist element would work better if he was kind of like plotting to kill everyone.
Yes,
but he's not. He's just kind of a guy who hangs out in a nightclub. Yeah, he has no motivations at all.
His motivations seem to just be kind of like general gangster. Gangster-y shit where he's just like his girlfriend and his money and whatever. We'll get to the performance in one sec. I just want to say David Ayer has made one film since this that has arguably redeemed his entire career, and that is The Beekeeper, which I totally forgot. I totally forgot he made The Beekeeper.
There's a film with a message.
Now, he didn't write The Beekeeper,
okay,
but The Beekeeper does have a message. And the message is, beekeepers live among us. They are everywhere. Keep an eye out for them. They will harm you if you hurt one of them. Protect the hive. So, the movie Suicide Squad, of course, folks, features Jared Leto as the Joker, the third Joker we've discussed on this series. Where does he rank in the Jokers we've discussed so far? It's not even funny to ask. It's actually just stop. He's already dead. Jared Leto is a bad actor, in my opinion. I think he's always bad. I have seen him in 5 to 10 films and I've never liked him in anything. He is generally seems to think that acting is staring into space and doing funny voices. I think acting is so much more than that, personally. He makes Rami Malek look like Robert De Niro. He's kind of so surface level in everything he does that I'm like almost astonished at how little humanity his characters ever possess. And that's before he starts playing the Joker, a character who is cartoonish by definition, ripped from the pages of a comic book.
He's a fucking BoJack Horseman character.
He's a BoJack Horseman character. And his thing in this film is that he looks really scary, and I'll give him that. He looks super scary. And you know what? They were rewarded for their work with the Oscar for Best Makeup and Hairstyling. Oscar-winning Suicide Squad. So look, we'll hand it to the makeup designers. They got their reward. They got an Oscar nomination. A win. But Jared Leto, beneath the makeup and the weird metal teeth and the tattoos that says broken and twisted or whatever,
and the smile on his hand that he holds
up, which I do like. That's my favorite part. He's really got nothing else going on.
Is he entirely to blame for that? Because what kind of script was he shown?
Yeah, sure. No, but I also wonder, was this written for him? Is this a case where there are other actors speculated?
I don't see how you can craft a Joker character based on the material you're given.
Yes, I know. No, I mean, you're right. David Ayer has a lot of blame to accept there. So what we read was that Ryan Gosling was offered that role at one point, which I think probably would have been just as bad in this film. You know, there's not much you can do to redeem this. It's just unfortunate that Jared Leto, I know he's not capable of better than this, so I'm not willing to give him the benefit of the doubt, you know?
Yeah.
Even if this is all David Ayer's fault, I think a version of this movie where the script is good, and even if you slotted Jared Leto into The Dark Knight or to Joker, you're getting an equally stupid performance.
I feel like at no point during shooting this did David Ayer go, "Oh, that was a good one. Just do that for the rest of the film."
Yeah.
He didn't hit one note correct at all to stick on, and
I don't know why David Ayer allowed him to get away with this. I think
because he was terrified of him.
He was scared of him because he was acting like the Joker on set. And I think David Ayer is probably a director who doesn't have a lot of confidence around actors because he's definitely just this blue collar guy who's like, "Oh, you guys went to school. You guys went to acting school. I was in the Navy. You know better than me." I don't think he's got the confidence to tell Jared Leto, "Buddy, stop. You're terrible."
But it also makes complete sense that Joel Kinnaman's character is kind of the protagonist.
Yes, it does, because he's the military man.
He's the military guy.
Yeah. But the Will Smith should be able to do that as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't.
But he doesn't. That character's too murkily defined.
Yeah.
But Jared Leto Jared Leto he has, of course, a side career as the frontman of 30 Seconds to Mars. You a fan?
Sure.
Do you want to hear
2 songs I know?
Do you want to hear what their albums are called? Because I never knew most of these.
Oh god.
30 Seconds to Mars, A Beautiful Lie, 2009 album This Is War, which I probably did download on my iPod because I liked Closer to the Edge. Love, Lust, Faith and Dreams. Then their 5th album is called America, and the album artwork is yellow, and in black text on the artwork it says "Cowgirl Doggy Face 69 Scissors the Crab."
I'm gonna be honest. If you saw this, you're like, it's completely consistent with this film that he got cast to play.
Yes, and then he also has an album called "It's the End of the World, but It's a Beautiful Day." Why did they not include 30 Seconds to Mars on the soundtrack?
They should have just done the entire soundtrack to be 30 Seconds to Mars.
Yes, they should have. Did you know that him and Cameron Diaz were in a relationship for 4 years? No. They were engaged.
Oh no.
Oh, she got out of that
when?
one. In 99, 2003.
Okay, that's long enough ago that maybe he was normal for a bit.
Thank goodness. Anyway, he I'm trying to see here if there's anything.
Yeah, that is so remarkably consistent with what this film is.
Yeah, Will Smith said that he had never actually met Jared Leto, We worked together for 6 months and we've never exchanged a word outside of action and cut. We've never said hello. We've never said good day. Good day.
I think Will Smith probably just wouldn't do that with anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Will Smith's a fucking horrible person.
Will Smith doesn't talk to anyone.
I've only ever spoken to him as Deadshot and him as the Joker. I literally have not met him yet. Not a single word exchanged off camera. His method acting in Suicide Squad also reportedly involved, this is very famous, sending gifts to his fellow cast members, including bullets and live rats. Margot Robbie said he gifted her a live rat. She kept it as a pet until her landlord discovered it. Sorry, imagine Margot Robbie having to have a landlord.
Yeah.
Lunch with my landlord. Viola Davis said he did some bad things, Jared Leto did. He gave some really horrific gifts.
Yeah, he
had a henchman. Jared Leto, bro, has a henchman in 2024. He had a henchman who would come into the rehearsal room, and the henchman came in with a dead pig and plopped it on the table, and then he walked out. And that was our introduction to Jared Leto.
No, at absolutely no point did Jared Leto ever consider to do the Jack Nicholson Joker bit.
Yeah.
Where he goes and gives money to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Why did he just do something nice? It's all nasty stuff.
This is the line before that method actors only method act to play assholes.
Yeah, exactly. This is right-wing Joker. He doesn't give money to people. He just abuses people and runs a strip club. He is a right-wing Joker.
Yeah.
It's a right-wing movie. Leto claimed he also sent anal beads and used condoms to his co-stars to, quote, create an element of surprise. The Joker doesn't respect things like personal space or boundaries. What a disgusting person. What a horrible man. I hate him so much. Now he said, he said the rat thing was a lie and he gave Margot Robbie only cupcakes. I don't believe him.
I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that. Nope.
Not a word he says. What a creep. What an absolute creep. His biggest... At
least he didn't send copies of his album to...
Yeah, exactly. So he was the heartthrob on My So-Called Life, the TV show with Claire Danes, and he's very attractive in that show. I'll give him that. He, like, similar to Johnny Depp, he has a very beautiful teenage face, like,
yeah, and he's got the whole American Psycho background as well. He's
sure, yeah, he's in The Thin Red Line, he's in Fight Club, he's in like every fucking big movie of the last 3 years of the 90s. He's in Girl Interrupted, American Psycho, then he's in Requiem for a Dream, a movie that I tried watching when I was like 15, and within 3 minutes I was like, I'm gonna get sick, I'm turning this off. He is in Panic Room, which he's kind of well cast in because he plays a scary home intruder with dreads and just doing his thing, like Phone Booth, Alexander, Lord of War, and Dallas Buyers Club then kind of comes around pretty quickly, 2013, where he plays Rayon, the trans woman who befriends McConaughey's character. It is like so perfect that Jared Leto will forever be probably the last cisgender actor to win an award for playing a trans character in a long litany.
Is Eddie Redmayne Danish Girl after this?
He didn't lose anything, yeah. Or sorry, Eddie Redmayne didn't win any awards for that though. Like, yeah, it is after this, but it's the year after. But it does feel perfect that Jared Leto like squeaked in the door of doing that now highly problematized thing. He's not good in that movie. I mean, what can I say? I don't think that movie is inherently evil or anything. I just think he's not very good in it.
Surprising, given that Jared Leto's in it.
Yeah, it's just not a very good performance. He's just completely OTT. Then he shows up after this, he shows up in Blade Runner 2049 as a complete, like, boring, just like, he's playing like a fucking monk or something. And he's in The Little Things with Denzel, which is a pretty good movie in my opinion, but he's the worst part of it. And then he is in House of Gucci as Paolo Gucci, which unfortunately I think you and I do agree is his best performance. Yeah. It is fun. It utilizes what a bad actor he is for comic potential, which is the most Ridley Scott thing you could possibly.
Also incredibly funny that like the character in real life is not fat.
No, not at all. He decided to do that just for the bit. Wear a fat suit. It's a performance that like Kevin Spacey would have given 5 years earlier. And then he's in Morbius, which is another crack at this comic book movie thing, which I guess that movie's just kind of him taking a big check. I don't know. There's no real reason for him to be in it from an artistic perspective. I haven't seen Morbius. My impression is that Morbius has a similar kind of nu metal, maybe more so of a nu metal vibe than this does, of like nihilism and bullshit. I don't know.
Sure.
And he's about to be the lead of the new Tron movie, Tron Ares, which he is the lead in with Greta Lee and Hassan Minaj and Evan Peters and Arturo Castro. And it's depressing that he's going to be the star of that. Because who's still casting Jared Leto? And he also was in the We Crashed miniseries with Anne Hathaway. that is Jared Leto's career. Not a fan. No. Never glad when he shows up in things. Never happy to see him. Hope he goes away. Mm-hmm. There you go. Also in Suicide Squad, which we should say is a DC Comics movie based on a set of villains who are kind of peripheral to the Batman lore, I guess. Characters like Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Rick Flag, anyone else of note?
Captain Boomerang. El Diablo,
Katana, Killer Croc. These are basically Slipknot. These are basically a bunch of villains that Batman has arrested on behalf of the US government because he's a cop now. I don't know why. Ben Affleck pops up in this movie for 5 minutes. Ben Affleck is innocent of being in this movie.
Yep.
Because I would bet you he didn't even know he was filming scenes of this movie. They tricked him. They were like, oh yeah, Will Smith's going to cameo in your movie. And he was like, oh no, why is David Ayer on the set? But Batman arrests a bunch of villains. They lock them up. They throw away the hole. Then Viola Davis has this plan where she basically dispatches them to, land in this city that's been overrun with fantastical Enchantress's demon soldiers. Enchantress played by wonderful actress Cara Delevingne. Definitely not related to the founder of the Black and Tans. And they are all basically forced to save the planet, whatever, because she can kill them if they don't. And they have to get on. And the film is all set at night in the darkness, in real time, in a ugly CGI city, and it has basically got video game narrative where the characters have to get from point A to point B and fight off these creatures and fight off Enchantress while bantering with each other and, maybe learning to be better people. And it's not an enjoyable watch on any level. Even if it was bad in like a camp way, you'd be like, all right. But it's just gray and ugly and hateful.
The thing that really stood out watching this the second time is everything I remember from the first one was from the first 30 minutes.
Yes.
And then I looked at the runtime. 30 minutes was up. There was still an hour and 45 minutes left.
Yeah.
And it's just complete sludge.
Yeah, it is sludge. It looks like sludge. The creatures, Enchantress looks like sludge.
Yeah.
What happened kind of notoriously with this film is that David Ayer's cut was sort of a bit too dour for the studio, which seems fair. You watch it and you're like, this is sludge and this could do with some color. The trailer, which is cut to Bohemian Rhapsody, does so well. People are so hyped for this movie. So a couple months before it comes out, Warner Brothers commissions the trailer editors to cut the movie. Now, my take on this would be that they probably only cut the first half hour and then maybe a bit here and there.
Yeah.
But apparently they recut the movie and the version that they did tested slightly better, and then Warner Bros. Decides to kind of amalgamate the two. So what it appears to have turned out as is that the first half hour of this movie plays like a trailer where it is inexplicably jumping every 30 seconds to a new location and dropping a new famous needle drop song into the scene.
This is absolutely deranged.
It's awful. So in the first 3 minutes, there's about 7 pop songs used. It's insane.
It's not pop songs at the beginning, though. They started off with House of the Rising Sun.
Well, sure.
Rolling Stones, yes. Creedence Clearwater.
Yes. You Don't Own Me. Then Eminem comes a little bit later. Black Klansman gets played a little bit later. Like, they just go so ham with the songs. Black Skinhead. Sorry, did I say Black Klansman? Black Skinhead. Yeah. They just go ham with the music. And it's the way that a trailer editor would, of someone who feels the urgent need to change the tempo of the movie every possible second.
But they really don't line up.
No.
What you're seeing with what you're hearing.
No, there's no. The editing is disastrous, and there's no rhythmic cohesion to where the music's being used at all. So for the first half hour, you're like, this is an entertaining, terrible film.
It's like a Mr. Beast video.
Yeah, it's moving so fast, and the camera it's freeze framing on every character and giving us like a Wikipedia page of information on them that flashes up for 2 seconds. But at least it is stimulating.
Sure.
Overstimulating. And then about half an hour in, it becomes like incredibly understimulating and is sludge. And then maybe every 20 minutes, Harley Quinn will stare into space, zone out, and there will be a 5-minute flashback to the Joker doing something horrible and abusive to her, torturing her, pushing her into a vat of acid, almost killing her with his car when she's on a motorbike for some reason. Yeah. There's all these scenes that are kind of just built around like wanting to show Margot Robbie being tortured. I don't know. I really don't like the vibe in those scenes. But Jared Leto is kind of the most compelling part of the film, just because
bright green hair hits the screen and you're like, oh, sorry, this is on.
Yeah, at least he's like alarming in a way that like everyone else is just completely comatose, you know? Because in the rest of the film, the nominal lead is Academy Award winner Will Smith, who was offered a role to return in Independence Day Resurgence, and he said, I don't want to do that. I want to be in Suicide Squad instead.
After seeing the success of like Twisters and Beetlejuice and all these sequels, like not being in a second Independence Day is...
He doesn't have time travel. Those are both movies that came out this year, but sure.
Oh, I know what I'm just saying.
You're saying
the
now,
trend of sequels.
Now we can tell it's a disaster, yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because Independence Day Resurgence didn't do very well.
But again...
Because it didn't have Will Smith.
Yeah.
And you do wonder, would Will Smith have...
Like, were the Jurassic Worlds coming out at that stage?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
No,
you're right. There was evidence. Like, Independence Day Resurgence made $389 million worldwide, and Suicide Squad made 750. So.
Oh, God.
But yeah, Will Smith in this movie is completely non-registering, I would argue. He does not present as a leading man in any way, but he also doesn't fit into the ensemble neatly. He is like the most uninteresting possible person you could have as like the most screen time in this movie. I don't know.
Like, Hancock is a much more interesting character.
Much more interesting character. I never think about Will Smith when I'm thinking about how bad Suicide Squad is. So he kind of doesn't die with the movie.
No, he doesn't contribute to the negativity of it.
He doesn't contribute to the negative side of it, but he also doesn't contribute anything to it. Like, when you're watching it, you forget that he's in it every time he's not on screen. Yeah, and this is a guy, as much as I'm not a fan of his particularly, this is a guy with like 30 plus years of notoriously great screen presence and a strong command of the screen and audience interest. And in this movie, you are basically more interested in Captain Boomerang, in Joel Kinnaman, and in fucking Katana than you are in Will Smith at any given moment, because he's just bringing so little energy.
He's got no energy. He's got no motivations. He's like, there's some stuff with his daughter which is just so ham-fisted,
so corny, yeah, and sentimental, and sentimental family shit in a movie that is this anti-human and anti-family, anti-love is incredible. Like, he has just done Focus with Margot Robbie. When he does this, I haven't seen Focus. I feel like you've seen it. It's a bit on TV. It's
fine.
Whatever.
It's whatever.
He's done After Earth 3 years earlier. Like, he is in a bit of a downswing because Men in Black 3, which is maybe my favorite Will Smith movie, is famously a situation where the production became out of control expensive because of him being a baby on set and like demanding a 3-story trailer. He had the biggest trailer in the history of movies and just being an asshole. And I think Men in Black 3 was like really hard to make because of what an asshole he was on set. After Earth, huge bomb. He's not even the lead of that. Like, he's just like lying on the ground paralyzed while Jaden goes around and does shit. That's a real like give my son work movie. And then he is in Focus and Concussion in 2015, and Concussion is a very boring movie about where he plays like don't want to get the...
He's a neurosurgeon.
But I'm trying to remember, where's that character from? I don't want to get the... He is a character from Nigeria.
Yep.
So he does a very strong Nigerian accent that he doesn't pull off, in my opinion. He is...
I think Concussion is fine.
Concussion is like, okay, whatever. It has people like Ali Baldwin in it. He doesn't get an Oscar nomination for that movie because he's not a very good actor, and proceeds to throw a massive temper tantrum where Jada, his maybe wife, on and off again wife, comes out and says, we're boycotting the Oscars because Will wasn't nominated. We're not going. And everybody laughs and shrugs and goes, well, you weren't invited.
Yeah.
And they just made an absolute fool of themselves. So at this point where Suicide Squad comes out, I am thinking to myself, Will Smith is a fucking loser. Like, he is a wealthy, successful man who has been behaving like a child because Hollywood won't take him seriously.
And thankfully he learned his lessons and never made any
mistakes again.
No.
Now, the funny thing about the fact that Suicide Squad comes out in August is that in December he brings out maybe the only movie that is like roundly agreed to be a worse 2016 movie than Suicide Squad. He is the star of Collateral Beauty, a film that is maybe got a worse reputation than Suicide Squad. Like, it is just like famously absolute dog shit. A film where he is doing kind of an It's a Wonderful Life thing, but like his friends have hired actors to play love, time, and death. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's those three. And they visit him. These concepts visit him, and he's obsessed with dominoes. And it's a terrible, terrible film. And it bombs. But anyway, it's Will Smith is in 2 complete stinkers in the same year. The following year, he makes Bright with David Ayer, orc cop movie, which did produce a good Neil Young song. Then he's in Aladdin, which I will say not his worst work. I think in Aladdin, he's like at least kind of...
He's back to doing comedy.
He's back doing comedy and he's alert. Then he is in Ang Lee's Gemini Man, which is just another version of After Earth. It's like a big, stinky sci-fi original
kind of visual
thing.
Experiment.
Yeah, that nobody wants to see.
Super
from a
high frame rate.
Great director making his worst, stupid sci-fi movie. And then he's the voice in Spies in Disguise, which he turns into a pigeon. And then he's like, okay, no more risks. Bad Boys for Life.
Bad Boys for Life.
And then Bad Boys for Life's a big hit. So then he gets to do his little wanky Oscar bait movie, King Richard. Everyone gives in to his bullshit, gives him the Oscar. We all know what happened there. We don't even need to discuss it. And now he's cast out of Hollywood. Now all he can do is Bad Boys, which is hardly being cast out of Hollywood. But he has not been cast in a movie since the Oscars incident other than Bad Boys 4. So his career is sort of on pause in a certain way where I'm like, I don't think he's getting cast in another Suicide Squad, another Independence Day, another Collateral Beauty anytime soon. But there is a massive audience of Bad Boys fans who will show up for him.
Yeah,
which is a certain demographic.
He will probably continue to make like hyper specific Will Smith vehicles.
Yeah.
Like he's not going to work with anyone who wants to try and put him in something interesting.
No, I don't think he'll work with a good, like, interesting director for many, many years. And I don't think he deserves to, because I think he seems like a real shithead and like a narcissist in a way where, like, if you're going to be this vain and think you're the center of the universe like he does, you've got to be Tom Cruise and take actual risks and do interesting things that uses your messianic bullshit in a way that audiences will enjoy. Like, if you like do crazy stunts, do these things that Tom Cruise does where he thinks he's Jesus Christ and we get to enjoy his delusion rather than what Will Smith does, which is think that he's Jesus Christ
and then give out to everyone for not believing it
and just do his stupid sentimental shit like whatever thing that happens when you hit your head. Concussion. I think I might be concussed.
Like what led up to him winning his Oscar for King Richard? Like
nothing.
Was there
just look, it's his turn.
Was there any narrative driving it other than it just sure?
No, sure. It was a COVID year.
Oh yeah.
There was very little choice. His only competition at the Oscars that year was Cumberbatch. And I think we collectively...
Power of the Dog, or was that...
Power of the Dog.
Power of the Dog.
I think we collectively as a society are not willing to give Benedict Cumberbatch an Oscar for Best Actor. I don't think that...
I kind of agree.
I don't think that should happen. He is a TV actor, but I would rather him have won than Will Smith. That was Will Smith's third nomination. He was previously nominated for Ali and The Pursuit of Happiness. I have seen both. I don't like either of those films. I mean, one of those is a Michael Mann movie and one of those is sloppy slop. So like The Pursuit of Happiness, like he's just in a lot of fucking mawkish nonsense aimed at the normiest of normies. Like like The Pursuit of Happiness, 7 Pounds, Collateral Beauty. These are movies that make Shawshank and The Green Mile look edgy and gritty. Like they're so sentimental. It makes your stomach churn. What he's good in my opinion, is when he's doing like pure movie star blockbuster bullshit, like Hancock,
Aladdin.
like Aladdin a little bit. The Men in Black's obviously really good. And then like 6 Degrees of Separation is probably his best performance, where he's basically just like a con man who's fucking with Don Sutherland for 2 hours, and he's a lot of fun.
I mean, that's kind of, he's a bit more like that in Focus, where he's doing kind of con man stuff. Yeah, and it works. It's just not a...
Stuff like I Am Legend and iRobot is watchable, I guess. Hitch is watchable. But that's it. Like those are the only movies of his that I tolerate. I really am not a fan of his. He's one of my least favorite A-list movie stars, I'm afraid to say. And I kind of hope he never rebounds, and because if he just does shit like Bad Boys forever, especially if he does that kind of thing on streaming, like if he goes and makes a bunch of Netflix movies with David Ayer, I don't have to worry about him anymore, and that
he will make so much money.
He'll make so much money, and I don't have to worry about him. And the people who like those movies and who like Bad Boys can enjoy Will Smith forever without him bothering me.
We did get I was going to tell us our Bad Boys premiere.
Yeah, go.
Story
that we didn't go to.
Well, What was it? It was like a Tuesday night.
It was a Tuesday night. I was coming back from visiting my parents.
Yeah.
It was on in the IMAX, and it was followed by a reception in Soho Club on Delir Street.
Yeah. And
underground.
Did they have a mechanical bull, or was that?
They had a mechanical bull. Protein bar was on the mechanical bull. They had
I think they had like Hummers driving people from the screening.
I think so, maybe. They had like scantily clad models handing out drinks. They had shirtless male stripper type guys. Really, that's the vibe of the Will Smith career going forward, I think, is that exact event.
Yeah.
Just kind of, okay.
We saw some videos and it wasn't very full.
Yeah, so I don't need to be part of this. Like, okay, you guys enjoy.
Dublin film people. Like, they're not going to that.
Tuesday night, Will Smith, Miami, Pitbull, Black Eyed Peas. Hey, let's go.
Don't look in with Pitbull.
The billing on this movie is there's 5 names above the title.
Yeah.
And those names are Will Smith, Jared Leto, Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Viola Davis. I don't know how Joel Kinnaman got that. I think that Tom Hardy was playing that role, obviously.
Or he negotiated the contract.
Then they offered it to Gyllenhaal. I think that person was getting fourth billing no matter... Well, sorry. If Tom Hardy or Jake Gyllenhaal were in this movie, they would be getting billed above Margot Robbie. But...
Really?
I think...
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
At the time.
2016. But I think that part was just deemed to have to be one of those 5 names, even though Joel Kinnaman does not deserve to be one of those 5 names any more than Jai Courtney does, in my opinion, or Cara Delevingne. But anyway, Viola Davis being there is funny. She's kind of the best part of the movie. I don't know. She's pretty good. Like, she comes back for The Suicide Squad. I'll do like 30 seconds on The Suicide Squad. Margot Robbie does Birds of Prey a couple years after this, which is very much female director, female writer. She produced it herself. You can tell the character's look is updated. She's dressed very differently. And you can tell that Margot Robbie realizes that the hypersexualized version of the character depicted in this film was maybe a little bit problematic. And she rebrands the character as some sort of feminist character, whatever.
Even in The Suicide Squad.
And in The Suicide Squad,
she
comes after Birds of Prey. That comes after. The Suicide Squad is a very enjoyable film directed by James Gunn, in which returning characters from this movie are Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, Jai Courtney, and Viola Davis. That's it. Idris Elba shows up as this guy who is a basically identical character to Will Smith's character, but he is a different guy. But it is funny how they swap out one black leading man for another, and Idris Elba is just like 1,000 times more charismatic than Will Smith in that movie.
Yeah.
But Viola Davis is a lot of fun in the sequel, and I think she's okay in this. I mean, she gets all of the stupidest shit at the start of exposition, and she does her best.
She has some very sweaty lines in this where it's like, Will Smith is standing right beside her, and she's like, we would not give a loaded handgun to an infamous criminal.
Yeah. But she's trying her best. She's a talented Oscar-winning actress.
I'm glad we have Viola Davis doing this and Angela Bassett in the Mission Impossible.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not reversed yet.
Yeah. Reverse would be fine as well.
Jared Leto being second billed in this movie is a bit stupid. I think there would have been a very handy opportunity to give him the and on this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But for some reason, these DC movies are allergic to and.
But also, we probably couldn't do it on Boy Party if you got an and.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we would anyway. But the DC movies are allergic to and. They never did it. Batman v Superman, Justice League, none of these movies ever did the and. They would just slot people like Jeremy Irons and J.K. Simmons in 6th, 7th place without an and, which I always found odd. That's the billing. The poster, there's different posters. The one that I like is the teaser poster where it's the green floor and they're all standing looking up.
Yeah, that's the one I have.
Which I think is a really, really good poster. And really effective. The actual final poster that they settle on closer to the release is like a mushroom cloud. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I think so.
It's a mushroom cloud coming up from the bottom of the image, and they put the billing block on the top of the poster instead of the bottom, which looks awful. Yeah. And the mushroom cloud has all the heads of the characters floating in it with little comic book kind of like stars and little sketchy bits sticking out.
Yeah.
It is hideous. It is so ugly. Anyway.
Yeah, and like for a film that kind of marketed itself as this cartoonish, comic booky, graphic imagery.
There's none of that in the movie.
Absolutely
none whatsoever. This is the scene where they fucking get in the tank of acid and there's a bit of green and pink.
And I guess when the name and information
that stuff is colorful, but that's all the stuff where the trailer editors got involved, you know? But yeah, Margot Robbie's in this movie as well. And we've talked about her on our Once Upon a Time in Hollywood episode. I don't really have anything else to say about her. She is not very good in this. I don't like this performance. I think she's very annoying. I think she's a lot better in The Suicide Squad with a better script. James Gunn actually knows how to write a female character. I hate how she's depicted in this. I hate how she's depicted in the marketing. I really just think it's unfortunate.
Yeah, like...
It set her career back.
I don't know... Again, like... I don't know who to assign most of the blame to for this. I think she's like a little bit innocent. She's like, I don't know.
Killer Croc and Captain Boomerang, offensive characters, somewhat. Killer Croc to Australians, yeah. Killer Croc, the whole BET thing at the end is infamous, but. Yes, and how tacky and crass it is, but it's.
They do similar things with Margot Robbie as they do with Megan Fox.
Yes, they do. They do.
There
yes,
are like a lot of parallels
comparison actually.
Like the first Transformers and some of the Transformers.
Transformers is a product of a different time.
They do similar things with Margot Robbie
in 2007. Would have had a lot more room for that kind of shit.
But Transformers is much better.
Yes. Oh,
I'm not even talking about the kind of...
Sure. Michael Bay's version of this film would be so superior just because he would never edit a film this
not even that, but like
confusingly,
being directed by Michael Bay is
and he wouldn't let the studio take it off him either.
I'm not even talking about the kind of the bad elements of it, but like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. It's insane.
No.
David Harbour shows up.
There's a complete lack of control and competency around this.
Nothing else to say about her. She luckily seems to have basically stopped acting in movies now. She's in a show, a TV show with Orlando Bloom that I don't watch, and she's in Only Murders in the Building. I really dislike her so profoundly. She has not been in an American feature film in 6 years. We did it, guys. We fucking did it. We killed Cara Delevingne's movie career. Sometimes good things do happen to bad people. Bad things do happen to bad people. Box office? 6 years. You don't have that ready.
We did it, guys. We fucking did it. We killed Cara Delevingne's movie career. Sometimes good things do happen to bad people. Bad things do happen to bad people. Box office?
Yeah.
You don't have that ready.
So this comes out 5th of August 2016, as we said.
Yeah.
All right.
So
this is number one. Huge opening. Well, 100-something million.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive.
The next film. I don't think this is the name of the film.
What?
Did it have a different name in
You
it?
don't think this is the name of the film? What are you talking about?
I always thought this...
Is it Jason Bourne?
Yeah.
The movie's called Jason Bourne.
Is it?
Yeah. I got it from your stupid confusion. This movie is called Jason Bourne. This is the 5th one that came 9 years after. Yes. Do you not know this film existed?
No, I thought there was 2, then the Renner one, then another Matt Damon one.
No, there are 3, then the Renner one, then the other Matt Damon one.
Oh, okay.
This is the other Matt Damon one.
So there's Ultimatum, Supremacy.
No, Identity, Supremacy, Ultimatum, Legacy is Renner, and then Jason Bourne. It's Damon.
Is this the one that has the clip that goes, Jesus Christ, is Jason Bourne?
Yes. This one is Damon, Alicia Vikander, Tommy Lee Jones, Vincent Cassell, directed by Paul Greengrass. Very boring. Boring movie.
What a stupid name.
We're off to a start now of why the summer of 2016 became the summer of the Suicide Squad. Keep going.
We got a film with another... I was going to make a joke that she's a huge movie star, but she's not.
Okay.
This is, she's probably... She as famous for TV at this point. She's married to another actor.
Okay.
It's a girls' movie.
It's a girls' movie.
Girls doing things they shouldn't.
It's Rough Night.
No.
Girls' Trip.
No, but you're in the right.
Oh, another one. It's not Melissa McCarthy.
No, it's
Mila
not Melissa
Kunis.
McCarthy.
Bad Moms.
Bad Moms.
Never seen? Would watch?
Yeah.
Sure.
Next up, I think this is a Will Smith film.
No, it's not. There aren't 2 Will Smith films out at the same time. So you're confused.
If I'm correct, then you own me.
There's no way there's 2 Will Smith films out. I literally just read out his entire filmography to you 5 minutes ago on this very podcast.
Okay, I was getting confused with something else you said.
Right, okay.
Kevin Hart is in this, though.
Kevin Hart's in this?
Yeah. Eric Stone Street.
Fist Fight? No, he's not in that. I don't know.
Dana Carvey.
I don't know.
Louis C.K.
I have no idea what this is.
Secret Life of Pets.
The Secret Life of Pets.
What does Will Smith play a pigeon in?
Spies in Disguise.
Spies in Disguise.
Secret Life of Pets
mistook them.
And the sequel are like massive movies, like $1 billion. Louis C.K. got replaced for the second one by Patton Oswalt or something. Anyway, keep going.
This is a franchise, like an IP that has existed for many years.
Star Trek Beyond. Not very good. Posthumous Anton Yelchin performance.
Oh yeah.
Nothing else about that memorable. It lost the makeup Oscar to Suicide Squad though. Idris Elba's in it. Unrecognizable beneath makeup, so you may as well not be.
Okay.
Are we seeing a trend here, folks? Are we seeing a trend here as to why Suicide Squad was able to dominate the discourse? Keep going.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
The next one is gonna reflect this even more.
A July 2016 blockbuster. Right.
I'm gonna read some of your review.
Okay.
For this.
Okay.
You last watched it in 2019?
Okay.
Can't believe I've watched this twice. But in fairness, we were assembling a bookshelf at the same time.
This movie is
it's grand.
9 Lives.
9 Lives. A film we saw in the cinema together.
Did you see that with me?
Yeah.
Michael was there too though, right?
Because I went in
Maybe
and then there were like kids there and I was like, wait, this is a children's film. I hadn't copped it. I thought like because Kevin Spacey was in,
comedy.
Not even R-rated, but just like
for adults, yeah.
Kevin Spacey was in it. I was like,
yeah.
He doesn't
this is a movie for the children.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it twice though.
You have seen it twice.
It's not terrible.
You give it 3 stars.
Yeah, it's like fine. I'd watch it again.
Sure.
It's the type of slop I like. Probably
where
David Newman probably did the music.
Silly,
just like frothy, yeah. And Barry Sonnenfeld directs it, and he casts the girl who plays Spacey's daughter in his Netflix A Series of Unfortunate Events show, and she was in that for 3 seasons. So good things come from, 9 Lives.
Next up, we got a horror.
Who cares?
Lights Out.
What?
Lights Out?
Lights Out? No idea what that is. Carry on.
Next one is a single word title.
I think I need a bit more information than that.
I don't think you've seen this.
Okay.
We got a bit of Dave Franco in a sporting role.
No idea. What is it?
This is Nerve.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah. Emma Roberts.
Yeah.
Barely remember
This has got
that.
a bit of a Suicide Squad-y poster to it.
Yeah. It's a very bad summer.
Yeah.
Anything else? This is like the worst summer of the last 20 years. Wait, I actually did my ranking of the summers. Where did I put 2016?
Sorry, I just start calling out the rest of them.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters.
Not terrible. But good by the standards of this summer.
Okay.
That's
this was like the first of the...
This is the Melissa McCarthy one.
Oh, this is the Lady Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
Better than most of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we got Ice Age Collision Course.
Never seen. Couldn't care less.
Finding Dory.
Yeah, not very good.
Cafe Society.
Woody Allen. It's fine.
Hillary's America. The Secret to...
Yes, Razzie Worst Film winner that year.
Legend of Tarzan. Fantastic.
Legend of Tarzan being as big a hit as it was tells you a lot about this summer as well.
Central... Is Margot Robbie in that?
No.
No.
Margot Robbie. We did it on this podcast. Central Intelligence.
No, Legend of Tarzan.
Oh, yeah, she is. Sorry, she is. A month before Suicide Squad. You're right. Sorry. Yeah, she is.
Like the BFGs knocking around in there.
Fucking garbage. Oh, fuck the BFG. Independence Day Resurgence.
Jungle Book the same year.
What?
Jungle Book is there as well.
Yeah. Awful.
I've had enough.
All right.
I'm not calling out.
Credits game. This is the game where I read the cast list of a movie starring one of the stars from this movie, from Suicide Squad. I'm reading it from bottom to top according to Letterboxd. Let's see how fast Shane can guess the movie. Will I give you the year?
Oh, yes.
2014. All right, let's go. So, Norm Lewis, Caitlin Delaney, Maggie Jiha, Ripley Sobo. Fun fact, Ripley Sobo plays the daughter in Steve Jobs in one of the segments. Joshua Henry, Tom Morrissey, Scott Grimes, Michaela Twiggs, Morris Jones, John Patrick Walker, Alan Doyle, Michael Crane, Finn Wittrock of La La Land fame, Lucy Griffiths, Kevin Corrigan, Kevin Durand, Matt Bomer, Graham...
Not the basketball player.
No. Graham Greene, Eva Marie Saint.
Oh, wow, okay.
2014.
Interesting. You're going to have to keep going.
Okay. Will Smith. There are 5 names left to go through.
A 6th build
Yeah.
Will Smith is animated.
Nope.
No. Why is he sixth billed in a film?
Mm-hmm. I'll keep going.
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly, William Hurt,
Yeah, these aren't people.
Russell Crowe.
Is this isn't one of these Noah's Ark bullshit things?
Mm-mm.
No.
Jessica Brown Findlay.
No.
And there's one name left, and that name is Colin Farrell.
Is this Total Recall?
No.
Of sort. No.
This is the Akiva Goldsman movie, Winter's Tale.
I wouldn't have got
also
that.
known as A New York Winter's Tale, in which Will Smith cameos as the devil. That's a fucking weird movie. Came out in like
what was the
February.
What was the that has real collateral beauty energy?
Yeah, real collateral beauty energy.
God.
Yep. Winter's Tale, everybody.
Are movies in an okay state
compared to 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. There.
They improved a little bit.
Yep. 2014 is so I've never watched more movies from any year than 2014.
Yeah.
I have seen 150 films from 2014.
Yeah.
130 of those are fucking awful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Things were bad. Thank you for tuning in to our Suicide Squad episode. Things were bad.
Yeah.
You can join us next week for our Joker Folly Adieu episode now. Housekeeping. That episode may not drop on Tuesday as you're used to due to scheduling issues with a screening.
Yeah.
So you may get something else on Tuesday, or you may get something on Sunday and something on Thursday. You'll see. Just follow our social media. You'll figure it out. Thank you for tuning in. Visit boypartypod.com. Follow boypartypod on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for tuning in. And thank you to David Ayer for providing us with an hour of content.
The greatest trick the Joker ever pulled was playing 700 million.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Bye-bye.